pouring herself a cup. He was deep, extremely deep. So deep I think he forgot where he parked his bike. We spent hours discussing the existential dread of a wilted daisy. I ended up paying for the tea because he doesn't believe in the material constraints of currency. Told you, Jack said, appearing from the kitchen with a plate of burnt toast. Poets are just panhandlers with better vocabularies. Anyway, Shauna continued, Stanley was waiting by the door when I got back. He wanted to know if Orion, yes. His name is Orion, was a long-haired radical. I told him Orion was too tired from all the thinking to be radical. The peace of the morning was shattered by a pounding at the door. It wasn't the rhythmic thud of Stanley, but the erratic drumming of a man in a hurry. Larry, Jack, buddy, don't say no, Larry said, bursting in with a stack of glossy magazines. I've got it. The ultimate plan. We're going into the modeling business. Modeling. Chrissy's eyes lit up. Like for Vogue. More like for Local Plumbers Weekly. Larry said, flipping open a magazine to show a man holding a wrench with forced enthusiasm. They need authentic faces. And Jack, your face is the most authentic one I know. It screams I have a leaky faucet and I don't know why. I'm a chef, Larry, not a plumber's model. Jack shouted. Think of the exposure. Larry insisted. And the $15. You can buy a new iron. Jack looked at his shirt, still wrinkled from the pot pressing. He looked at Johnny, who was still recovering from Orion. He looked at Chrissy, who was already practicing her modeling pout. $15. Jack asked, per hour or per leak? Per leak, buddy, per leak. Chapter 11, The Secret of the Shack. Later that afternoon, while Chrissy was practicing for her potential modeling debut and Jana was at the shop, Jack decided to give the avocado green shag carpet a thorough vacuuming. It was a dangerous task. The carpet had a tendency to swallow small objects and hold them hostage for years. The vacuum roared to life, but halfway through the living room, it made a sound like a cat being put through a blender. Jack switched it off and reached into the abyss of the shag. "Ow," he muttered, pulling out a small, metallic object. It wasn't a tack. It was a key. A very old, very ornate brass key with a tag that simply said Unit 101. 101. Jack whispered, "That's Roper's place." His mind began to race. Why was a key to the landlord's apartment buried in their carpet? Had a previous tenant been a cat burglar? Was Stanley Roper running a secret smuggling ring out of his living room? Or, more likely, had Helen lost it and been too afraid to ask Stanley for a spare? "I shouldn't," Jack told himself. "It's an invasion of privacy. It's unethical. It's probably hilarious." He looked at the door. He looked at the key. He could hear Stanley downstairs yelling at a squirrel on the patio. "Just a peek," Jack whispered, "to make sure everything's safe." He crept down the stairs, the key feeling like a hot coal in his pocket. He reached the door of 101, his hand shaking. Just as he was about to insert the key, the door swung open. It was Helen. She was wearing a flamboyant muumuu and a look of sheer terror. "Jack!" she gasped. "What are you doing here?" I found this," Jack said, holding up the key. "In our carpet. I think it's yours." Helen's face went through several shades of relief. "Oh, heaven, I lost that weeks ago. Stanley would have had my head if he knew I was using the back window to get in. You're a lifesaver, Jack. A real hero. A model hero," Jack corrected, remembering Larry's offer. "Come in," Helen said, pulling him inside. "I was just about to have some tea, and I have some gossip about the woman in 107 that would make your hair curl." Jack sat down, realizing that the secret of the shag wasn't a crime ring, but something far more potent: the trust of Helen Roper. Chapter 12. The Great Beach Fiasco. The sun was relentless, a golden hammer beating down on the sands of Santa Monica. It was the kind of Saturday that demanded the ocean's embrace. But for Jack, it was a day of manual labor disguised as leisure. He was currently lugging a cooler to striped umbrellas and Chrissy's oversized inflatable flamingo across the scorching dunes. Remind me why we couldn't just sit on the balcony with a fan. Jack wheezed, his sandals sinking deep into the sand. Because the beach is the pulse of the city. Jack, Chrissy chirped. Skip walking ahead without a care in the world. She was wearing a wide